guess of this, that I'm right. But you're right, we don't have direct evidence. The direct evidence would be from the DNA, or the pelvis, or having a live animal, which we don't. So,
Does the canine tooth tip us off? Larger on the right?
yeah, the males tend to have larger canines, and that is sort of part of this agonistic display thing. When the males are putting on this display, they open their mouths and show their canines. Females tend to have smaller canines. So that would go along with the sexual dimorphism idea. The males are bigger, more rugged, and have strong canines. Females are smaller, less rugged, have smaller canines. So that's a good question. Maybe I'm all wrong. But that would be contrary to what we know about other primates. But already we have a great deal of sexual dimorphism, period. Or another interpretation might be, well, they're different species.
Now, you're calling this a primate?
This is an ape. This is a monkey that is on its way to becoming an ape. This is again, we thought it was an ape, but then we found a specimen with tail, and that disqualifies it immediately.
Oh.
We do have an ape from the Oligocene, or Oligocene, depending on whether you went to Yale or Harvard. And on the left is Rukopithecus, which is an ape, and on the right is Nisungopithecus, which is a monkey, but they're very close and dated to the same period. The Oligocene starts around 33.9 million years ago, lasts till 23 billion years ago, and this is when apes really developed. This is proconsul. This is another picture of proconsul, a group. This is the skull of proconsul. Once the brain case is enlarged, snout is still not very great. This is proconsul africanus, to be exact. Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
What does the suffix pithecus mean? Because I've seen that in a lot of the...
Ape. Okay. If it has anthropus, that means human, and pithecus means ape. Good question. Well, some of the older nomenclature used pithecus a lot for some of the early humans. Yeah, it's a Greek word meaning ape. It's derived from that at any rate. Good question. Anthropus, human, pithecus, ape. And this is skeleton of proconsul as reconstructed. And it is still a tree dweller. It's a small ape, although later on the Dryopithecines came in different sizes. Some as small as monkeys, some as large as, well, much larger than gorillas, modern gorillas. This is the view of the skeleton of proconsul. Once again, notice the snout is reduced, and the skeleton is kind of a generalized quadruped, although it's one that is probably in trees because of the fact that the the hands and the feet are grasping.
Nails?
Pardon?
Proconsul has nails.
All of the monkeys and apes have nails. Thank you for bringing that out. One of the trends is loss of claw and development of nails. And all monkeys and apes, and many of the lower primates have nails as well, but not all of them. One of them especially specializes in eating grubs and worms that live in trees, and it has a middle digit which has a claw on it, and it essentially takes the claw and digs it into the worm and uses it as a hook and then eats it from that claw. But the rest are nails. The Miocene lasts from 23 to 5.3 million years ago. This is the age of apes. The climate's a little drier, and especially toward the end, for some of the wildlife you find. Pigs are the size of cattle, and that will persist into the much later. Dryopithecus is a genus that is widespread. I don't know how many species we have. Over 100 species have been described, some of them on the basis of one tooth. I find that not to be very believable. But every time you find something new, you want to name it, because if you have a brand new species, you can put your own name in the back of it. So, for instance, we are Homo sapiens linnaeus, named after Linnaeus. Named after Linnaeus. Now, a lot of species have Linnaeus at the end of it, but if you find a tooth, you think it's a new species, you do that. There were some paleontologists that found a tooth in Nebraska that was dated around 25 million years. It looked just like an ape's tooth, and so they named it Hesperopithecus. Harold Cookie Eye Osborne. Osborne was the guy that described it. Wouldn't you love to have a child that name? So Hesperopithecus, Hespero means dawn, dawn ape, Hesperopithecus. Harold Cookie Eye, Harold Cook was his professor, and Osborne was the guy that described it. Well, about 5 years later, there was a big extensive article in it in the American Museum of Natural History Journal, etc. About 5 years later, someone took another look at it, and actually it was a pig's tooth. But pigs are pretty close to humans in terms of basic tooth morphology in some areas, so, and food habits. But there are many, many, many dryopiths. They lived in China, they lived in Europe, they lived in Africa, and they are named after their habitat in Europe. Dryo comes from the word for oak. These are the oak apes, but they're found all over, and they are ancestral to us. Some of them, or one of them. This is maybe what they look like, about 10 million years ago. There's the skull of one of them, and the skeleton. Now notice that the arms are getting a little longer on this one than in Proconsal. Now that would aim it toward the ape line rather than the human line. And this is the tooth history. Nothing to worry about way up there, but down here we have a split in molar morphology. In old world monkeys, we get a situation in which you have 4 cusps and they're joined together like that. We call that phyllophodon. In the Dryopith apes, what happened was that an extra cusp was added. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the new cusp actually right here. And so it's called the Dryopithecus Y5 pattern. And that's the same pattern we had prehistorically on most of our molars, and which we very often still have on our first molar. And this links us apes. Yes.
I actually have that.
Very good, excellent. Well done. I don't know if my teeth are so screwed around by dentists, I have no idea. But very good.
Yeah, I've got like a little hook that comes off of one of my molars.
Well, that's a Carabelli's cusp.
Is it?
That's a European characteristic. You have a skull with a Carabelli's cusp, you got European right away. But it's related to that. Very good. Very good. And this is what it looks like. This is not the Brigham Young basketball team. This is the Y5 molar. And of course, apes are all the same from them. Next time, we're going to do the Pliocene, and we're going to do humans. Well, we might just do human nature first. Now, I forget what the modern chapter is called, Human Nature. We're going too fast.
Search that? Okay. You're turning yourself.
Yeah, humans in our nature. Yeah, well, we sort of did that today. we'll do primates in our heritage, and then do human nature. Though, I don't know what human nature means. It comes from the word natural. I don't know what the word natural means, exactly. Anybody know what the word natural means? Keep the thing that it's unnatural.